Right, latest projections are Venom is going to absolutely eat Joker 2, or Joker Folie. Deux. So, the box office projections say that Venom The Last Dance is going to do about $70 million opening weekend. Pretty bloody good, to be honest, by comparison to Joker Folie Deux. Which is quite... I think that's a sign of a franchise which has done pretty consistent work, to be honest, because the third movie in a franchise can be really hit or miss. So the fact this is still projected to be pretty good, yeah, pretty crazy, to be honest. That's really good news for Sony and Venom anyway. It says this is on Deadline, and they have the forecast. It says, with Warner Brothers' Joker Folie Deux bombing, and this past weekend's overall ticket sales being off 43% from the same period a year ago, the October box office might feel kind of sluggish. Yep, that's what happens when you produce crap. We did also have that strike, remember? Both the WGA strike and the actors strike. So that has definitely affected things. This year is weird as a result of that. I think next year things will pick up a little bit, but we may even still feel some of that strike next year. It'll be interesting to see what happens. So it's at this point in time that we say, where are you, Venom? A nation's box office turns its lonely eyes to you, literally. So tracking has Sony's black-clad fanged Spider-Man anti-hero, threequel Venom The Last Dance, set to do $70 million opening. That's good. That's really good. For this film, that's really good. So that is the lowest start in the Venom trilogy. But that could still change, by the way. That's still important to note. There could be walk-up, sort of sales. I think there are a lot of people just walking up now. Because the box office has been so terrible, people are just turning up on the day. And you got to remember, because there's not been any good films coming out, or the films that have been out were garbage, whatever, there's not a lot of people that are going to the cinema and seeing the trailers and seeing that film was about to come out. So the sort of, I guess, subconscious advertising isn't there. I don't know how you would call it, but it is that, really, isn't it? It's where you just sort of see stuff. You go, oh, it's coming out soon. And then you go buy something. We don't have that. The eyes aren't necessarily all there. But it's still interesting nonetheless. Let There Be Carnage did $90 million, which is the third best for October. And the first movie did 80.2. So, yeah, 70 million is way, way, way lower than that. Still very high compared to Joker 2, though, isn't it? And they even note that here on Deadline. But after the crater left from Joker 2, we'll take a $70 million start. Let's hope that projection doesn't buckle. At that level, Venom 3 would be the second best opening in 2024 for a comic book feature, after Deadpool and Wolverine's 211.4 million. And it's not really a surprise that Venom's doing okay, and is going to be the second best. There's not really been any... I can't remember what other comic book movies came out this year, to be honest. Nothing, really. Thank God. So they continue further anyway and say, currently, men under 25 are leading the way in unaided awareness. That category where those being polled organically bring up the title of the movie without being prompted in a survey. So that's interesting. And that's also first choice. So men over 25 are the second strongest demo in both categories. So that's good. Again, for Venom, obviously. Kelly Marcel, who wrote the first two Venoms, makes her feature directorial debut. Now that's quite surprising. Sony have been doing weird things with Venom. Like they let Andy Serkis direct it. And people were like, what? Venom 2 anyway. And now they've let someone else who just wrote the movies come in and do a directorial debut as well, which is, odd. I mean, it's good that Sony are doing that, letting new people come up through the ranks, I'd say. I'd say that's really, really good. But it is interesting that they're just doing that, considering these movies have been pretty good for Sony. It says this, through two movies, the Sony Marvel Venom franchise counts $1.36 billion at the global box office. Now, those numbers... It's not huge, but for Sony it's huge. So the only other movie going wide on October 25th from a major studio is Focus Features' critically acclaimed festival darling Conclave from Edward Berger. which currently is 91% on Rotten Tomatoes. Never even heard of that. Got no idea what that is. And I don't think most other people know what that is either. And Deadline ran out their article here saying, despite the clunkiness of October box office, ComScore says that the month's first 13 days at 209.7 million is plus 4% over the same period a year ago. Even though Joker 2 didn't deliver, you can thank Warner Brothers for autumn's robust business driven by Beetlejuice, the post-Labor Day frame, totaling 760.6 million. That's mad. So yeah, I mean, look, this is Venom chewing down on Joker, and I think it is interesting, to be honest, just how bad Joker has done by comparison to what arguably what should be more obscure movies and more obscure characters. Again, just to remind us here, Joker 2 stumbled with $40 million debut. I think they revised that down actually to 30 odd. I'm very certain this was an ever such a slight miscalculation on their part, and they did revise it down, which is crazy really to think that this is going to do estimated $70 million, and they might be estimating it on a more sort of tentative conservative element. It may do even more. Just funny really, isn't it? Sequel to a $1 billion movie, the highest at the time, the highest R-rated movie of all time. That's what Joker is. So a sequel to that, and Venom 3, the third movie is going to open stronger than a sequel to a $1 billion movie. That's mad. That's absolutely mad. It really does go to show you. And it is interesting, you know, you get a peek behind the curtain on Deadline articles and just general mainstream media, where they start talking about how, you know, months have been lackluster and things like this. And they never really point to exactly why things have been lackluster, why it's all bombing, why it's going bad. But yeah, Venom 3 projected to do a really, really reasonable box office, to be honest. And it will absolutely crush Joker 2's opening weekend anyway. And by the time this releases, Joker 2 will actually be on direct-to-video, which is crazy. Be available on streaming. That's mad. That is absolutely insane. So there you go. I think there might just be a brief crossover. But yeah, Joker 2's already got its streaming release date, so pretty crazy stuff. Anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts on all of this. Let me know down below. Are you keen for Venom 3? Let me know. They're going to start beginning their ramp up now for marketing, so we'll probably learn a little bit more about it. But yeah, would be interested to hear your thoughts. Cheers, take care, bye bye now.